Well, hello there. Welcome to Beyond the Fantasy, Costumes and Courage. It's been a while, but we're here to bring you an episode about Menhir's Fate Event 3, which we went to back in August. It is now October, so hopefully we remember stuff correctly.
Definitely been a while.
Yeah. This was the last event that they had at the very first site.
Yep.
So that made it memorable.
Can't remember the name of the site though, so it's
Some farm.
in Bedfordshire.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Rowan.
Stephanie.
Yeah.
Figure if you're at this far, you should already know who we are, but
Yeah, some people might not.
yeah, I mean, if you're skipping episodes, I would suggest going back and watching all the Menhir Fate episodes. We had 3 for the first event because it was so jam-packed. But I think our goal for this event 3 is to kind of fit everything into one episode. So it might be a bit longer. Oh well, enjoy our voices for a bit more then.
You lucky bastards.
And viewership drop rate just right there.
Yep.
So we got there on Thursday once again.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably continue that at Menhirs. I don't think we'll do it at Empire though. But we'll see.
Yeah, probably not Empire.
No, we got a good vibe with the nation at Menhir, so we have like different people that we hang out. So usually on the Thursday night we usually get there, set up, and then we hang out with our friends that are the new LARPers, and we hang out with them out of character on the Thursday. This event they took us over to the Treasure Hunter Guild because they've been doing a lot of that, so we hung out with some of the people who play the gods, the Treasure Hunter guild masters, and yeah, we had like a good time. I think we ended up going to bed. Well, we went to bed earlier than them because most of them are a bit younger than us.
Yeah.
And can withstand long nights.
I'm used to getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning these days, so
Yeah.
staying up till 2 or 3 is a challenge.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, and then we got up the Friday. We went shopping.
Yeah.
I had a shower as well before getting ready, which was really nice. We helped a group and friends set up.
Yeah, we ended up, the camp plan changed on site because the rental company put the rental tents up in the wrong spot, so everything got shuffled around, and we didn't know our group of friends wanted to camp next to their group of friends, so we put our tent and had like an area secluded for our group that was like separate, so they kind of just set up over by the friends. But it all worked out really well. I mean, the nation had a really, really big spot, a lot of space, but it wasn't that big. So I mean, just walking over to the group awning wasn't that hard from our tent. And it kind of made it nice because our tent was over on the quieter side. So when we were trying to go to bed, we could actually fall asleep.
Yeah.
Unlike this past event that we were at, kind of centered town.
Yeah.
But we'll get there in another episode.
Yeah. So then, yeah, Friday time in, we were in the bank queue when it was about time in.
So I left because I didn't have my wig on.
And I didn't care.
Yeah.
So I stayed and I ended up getting both of our stuff.
Yes. The bank is supposed to be, your bank account's supposed to be like locked to you, like, and only people who know your code word or a signature can get in. So mine was a signature, and the guild master took it as a code word and let him get into my bank account with my signature, which was not a code word, but at least I didn't have to go stand in bank queue, so that was kind of nice.
Yeah, well, I figured it'd just save you time and me time.
Yeah, so we had our threads, we are the nation support, do a bit of a welcome in to Haven speech, and then they issued the Order of Luxury Challenge to become Decurion. So with Ceradonia, there's the 4 orders: War, Faith, Luxury, Stewardship. So third event, they're getting Order of Luxury. And I talked to a person in our group before Time In about it. And yeah, because they were interested and I was interested. And so then they said, well, if you want it and you want to do this stuff, then I'll support you. So that's what happened. Yeah. And it was, so the challenge was to bring the best / most expensive item in Haven, which no one really heard the same thing, or the threads didn't remember what word they used, and it got a little bit confusing because everyone kind of brought something different, which I think shocked them, but we'll get to that because that was on Saturday. But so at Time In, you were coming back from the bank while I stood there for the Welcome to Haven meeting.
Yeah. I got ready, and then I went back to the group tent, and I sat down, and then immediately someone just sort of came over and was like, "Oh, hi, are you interested in getting your fortune done?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" My character was very positive and open to trying things, so they said, "Oh yeah," so they got out a bunch of long strips and said, pick one of these. I was like, ooh, well, I feel like you want me to pick that one, so I'm not going to pick that one. So then I went deeper in the deck and I pulled one out, and it was...
We don't have it up.
We don't have it up.
I don't know where you put it.
I don't know where I put it either.
It
was this...
creepy man.
This creepy, it looked like a demon dead pirate with hell in the background. And they said, oh. And I said, that doesn't look good. And they said, oh, no, it means death. So surely you're gonna bring death to loads of people on the battlefield. And I was like, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, I can live with that. I said, oh, thank you so much. And I gave them a flicker, and they went, oh, you didn't have to do that. And I was like, well, you've just done, something nice for me, so I'm doing something nice for you. Here you go. You can do whatever you like with it. And yeah, that was my tarot reading.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and when we finished the big meeting, I think we kind of came back over and we were like, okay, best item. Well, most of our group are fable weavers. We could weave an item to be the best item. What do we do? And then our friend Glint had an idea about enchanting. It was unrelated. It was related to what we ended up doing, but it was separate. He had an idea, and then went off, did other things. A couple of us, Lyric, Dreadnought, and I, we kind of played around with ideas. Bats helped. You helped a little bit, and so we ended up coming up with weaving an enchantment onto the sangria pitcher, because our group, mostly the other 4, not really us, but the other 4 throw together sangria to sell as a bar, but it's the only drink we sell, or at least at that event was the only drink we sold. And so then it was kind of oh cool, yeah, we'll get that enchanted to do something cool with the weaving. They went over to the weavers because we wanted to enchant it to cure corruption or something like that, and the masters of the Menhir said, that sounds really, really cool, but only Faith can do that, so no, come up with something else. So we spitballed and brainstormed a bit more about it and came up with just a roleplay effect, really. So the actual weaving was really cheap because it was just a role playing effect. It doesn't really give you anything other than the desire to share stories of home and reminds you of your love of home. Is basically like what the role play effect is if you drink from the sangria pitcher. So to do a weaving, the Menhir asked for certain things, and in this case it asked for an ingredient from every nation along with a story on like why that, or like what that ingredient's for, just something about like the home and things like that. So in between all of that, I was like hanging around while we were like brainstorming. I ended up helping our friend Temperance from the group next to us bring coffee over to the bank, which was kind of fun. I got to go like behind the bank like stalls and like in the back, and like if I was a really really sneaky pickpocket, but it's technically illegal in character and out of character to steal anything from the bank.
Yeah.
So I couldn't have, but
well, you could have. You just been kicked out.
Yeah. Which wouldn't have been fun, but
no.
But it felt cool to like be behind the bank and be like, oh look at me, I'm like a important person. I'm just delivering like coffee or tea or whatever it was. Oops, sorry, I kicked the table. So.
And again.
Yeah.
Oh. Then we fought with Krios in a little fight. I think there was just like a small incursion that came in. Don't really remember too much about it because it was so long ago at this point. But I love a good fight. And then, yeah, we worked on getting the ingredients. So immediately on time in, one of our friends they traded their tooth for a bit of Valdrathi bog grass.
Bog
herbs.
Yeah.
So that was our first ingredient.
Yeah. I can't remember. Hold on, let's pause. Because I have a stack of papers. I want to see if in my stack of papers I actually have that. Okay. I don't know.
Unpause.
I don't know what position I was in before the pause.
I wasn't the position I was in.
Right, yeah. I have a list of all of the ingredients and their stories. Of course, because Glint got the bog herbs, also got a story with it. Didn't write that down because it was well, you know what story. So you have to remember it. Same with there was a Ceradonia, we got dried mushroom powder from the group next to us. I don't remember what the story was. Someone else had the story for the actual weaving. But yeah, so I started running around after the fight with Krios, and well, you went to the Crafters Guild.
Yep. From the new player group, 2 of them are apothecaries. So they got loads of flicker. The Crafters Guild was a new thing, so I think many of them went to event 2. We didn't go to event 2 and that was the first event for the Crafters Guild. So we went to try and see what it was, see what the rates were. And essentially you can trade like essence for flicker for essence. You can trade 2 of one resource for one of a different one. So it was quite interesting to go and like see that with them. They also told us that only one person needs to sign up. We didn't all 3 of us need to sign up for money and a flicker.
Because we're
friends, yeah. So it'd just be the one person that signed up. So one of the new players signed up, and because they were signing up, I just said, well, you know, if I give you my 5 flicker and you give me your 1 essence, then that's the same rate as the guild, and then we don't have to go through them. So they did that, and then they made a bunch of toughness potions, which was pretty cool. I think they ended up making about 5 or something. At least 5. And then I was just waiting around for them, speaking with someone who worked at the bank, because they were on a break.
Mm.
And then headed back to camp and met up with you guys.
Well, I was out and about, so
Yeah.
I can't remember when or if we met up. I don't think I saw you that much on Friday, because I went to Morvalis first, and I kind of like walked in and was like, okay, I'm really putting myself out there, because I don't really talk to people I don't know that often at LARP. I get a bit shy, get a bit introverted, get a bit nervous, and so this was like it was a test upon a test upon a test, because it was like get the best item. Okay, to get the best item I need to get all these ingredients, but to get these ingredients, Stephanie needs to put away her introvertedness and talk to people. So it was test, all to build one thing. So I went into Morvalis and I ran into a group of ladies in really nice dresses, and I said, I need help. And they went, oh, what is it? I was like, I'm trying to do an weaving, and I need an ingredient and a story that reminds you of home, or like a story why the ingredient reminds you of home. And this one person, it kind of dropped, was like, do you need like a fizz wrap? And I was like, yes. Because I actually didn't know. I was like, yes, fizz wrap, yes. So she took me into her camp and pulled off a little bud and gave me a bud of belladonna. And the story from home is just basically when so far from home, even the smallest taste can remind you of death close at hand and the reasons to celebrate life now. And then so they carry belladonna with them to center their minds on home when they're away from home, because Morvalis is all about celebrating life because your bones will serve the nation when you die. So that was like really cool, and I left and I was like really encouraged. I was like, that went so well. I'm gonna go to the next camp and try to get another item, and the next one was Portavos, and there was a group of people at the very front of their nation, because we were in the spoke wheel design, so all the guilds were in the center, and then all the camps were like in spoke wheel around. So I was just going from one to the next part of the wheel, and right at the beginning there was a bunch of people having their dinner, or like getting ready for dinner, I think, in their camp, and I was just like stood there and I was like, hi, can you help me? I need an ingredient for a weaving and a story of why that ingredient reminds you of home. And they kind of were all like, oh, yeah, take this ginger. And then someone was like, oh no, we might need that. And they're like, oh, take this piece of the ginger. And they basically snapped a bit of the ginger off. And Portavos, it was dried stored ginger, and it was carried over land and sea, and it's an essential ingredient to their curry. And so that reminded them of the meal shared during the Festival of Salts, which was all about bringing community together, and that is like the essence of Portavos, of the home, like their home in Portavos is all about community, especially with the Festival of Salts. So we have like a remembrance festival, and they have like a celebration festival. But we also have a celebration one, Festival of Lights, but we missed that at E2.
Yeah, we did.
And then I went to Hammerstadt, which was the next one around, and not so helpful. I went all the way through, found someone who was just sitting there and was like, hey, can you help me? And they said, I can sell you this for this much, but also I'll need you to test these blade oils for me. And I was like, okay, I don't actually have my money on me, but I might come back. I'll remember this. And I went back to camp defeated. I had 2 wins and then a loss, and I was just like, it was it was like a myth, I think.
Oh, wow.
Or like over a myth, and I would also have to test, but it was like I had to do the blade oil testing first, tell them what the blade oils did or something like that, and then they'd let me buy the ingredient off of them, and I was like, there's a lot of people in Hammerstadt, I'll find someone else, or I'll have someone else find someone else, which is what ended up happening. I met a random Krios, who I recognized from another life in Empire, who sold me really expensive salt, which is just... It's not a protein powder. I can't remember what was actually in it. But something like that, like a sport energy kind of powder that they called like a Krios-y salt. And that was... there was a grand story about Pirathusa's muse, who is a great warrior of the gymnasium. That's kind of what they call their groups or gymnasiums, I guess. And Slash the warrior was also of Krios, who fought against the corruption. And there was kind of a longer story, and with more like Greek kind of words, and I kind of got lost in it, so and I didn't write it down for quite a while, but it worked. I do have that powder still in my bag. I probably should throw it out because that's months old now, just been sitting in paper.
Yeah.
But yeah, after that, I think I went back to camp a bit defeated, about the Hammerstadt one. We went to, this is how we met the talking cat. We went to the bank to sign me up for a bank meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And while we were trying to sign up for a bank meeting with one of the bank managers, a cat started talking to us. And I was really confused because I didn't know in Menhir Fate system if it's a puppet or if it's like a real cat as a puppet. So I was really confused during most of this because I was like, is this actually a quote-unquote real cat that's talking to me, or is this person making a puppet talk to me? Like, it's as if it is a real cat, but even in game it's a puppet.
Right.
So I was really confused and a bit like weirded out, but I kind of tried to play it off that my character was just like a talking cat. I don't even really know what a cat is. Is it gonna hurt me? And like I was trying to be like more focused on like the bank queue and getting my meeting because I had a build idea that I wanted to put into the bank. So I let you talk to the cat people because we found out they were from Hammerstadt.
Hammerstadt, yeah. They had a talking cat. It was a real cat.
Yeah.
And essentially, Hammerstadt is a big city. There's a magical college there. They found the cat in the runoff of the magic college, so the cat had been, covered in magical goop and was now able to talk. So they were making a cat shelter, a cat tea house or something, so that the cat would have other cat friends, essentially. And then I was like,
cafe
that's
for cats.
Yeah. I was like, that's such a cool, story. Do you mind if have you got any like ingredients I could? Because I'm trying to get, ingredients with saying for a weaving. And they said, oh, sure. I was like, you've got some cat boogers. Is it alright if I just get those cat eye boogers? So I just like got like a little thing, like did next to his eye, and then I was like, oh, perfect.
Conveniently, my crystal torch broke, which is also broken again because we've repaired it. And I peeled off the glue and gave it to him as the like fizz wrap for these cat eye boogers. Because this was just sat in my bag broken.
Yeah. But then when we got back, I was told that cat eye boogers was not a good ingredient. So I was
not pleased.
I had to go back and get a different ingredient from them.
Yeah, which he did on Saturday.
Yeah, I did this Saturday morning. I just went, they had the tea room, so I bought some tea, and then that was our ingredient.
Yeah.
It cost me a couple sagas, but hey ho.
Yeah.
Got the weaving done.
I think I was voicing Friday night some of my like nations that I didn't finish yet, and so my friend Bats and I went out because Bats was like, I'll take care of Wonder, I have a friend in Wonder, I'll get you something from them and a story. And so we went to go find the friend was a bit busy, so we're like, oh okay, maybe we'll meet up a bit later. And then we swung around because it was like, oh, we still need Erdreven. So we went into Erdreven. We went to their bar. Lovely place. So hard to talk to because there was music, there were stories going on, there were multiple groups. And so we got a story from them, and then we just took some salt from the table. And we were like, this is salt from the table of stories. Is like how we phrased it to the Menhir. And that story was, if I can find it on my magical paper written. So yes, the traveler once turned into a cow. This is the god, the traveler. And ate the stars because they looked tasty. And then the traveler as a cow went up and past the moon and returned, having gone the furthest in all of the world. And so we got garlic salt of the table of stories. It was a much longer story, but yeah, it was basically how the cow jumped over the moon was the essence of the story, just flavored to the situation that we were in game with a god and eating the stars and stuff like that. So it was kind of cool. It was very chaotic to even just get that. We sat there for a good 10 minutes before the guy who said he had a story finally told us what the story was. But it was because everyone in their group needed a refill, and then some people in the group were singing. We ended up going back to the Wander later and finding the friend, and got tea leaves as well. So there was double tea leaves going on.
Double tea leaves, double salt.
Double tea leaves, double salt. And the story was so the Wander have a leadership thing as well. It's not called the Kurions because that's what it's in our nation. So this friend of my friend was nominated or had become one of those leadership positions, and so her story was actually about how back home in the Wonder she lives with her grandmother, and her grandmother told her to go to Haven, told her, I'll be fine, I'll get myself up into the treehouse, it'll be okay, you need to go out there and do this thing and not become someone, but do something good for the world. And then they did kind of become someone because the nation put them forward, however that works in the Wonder, to become this position. And so it was tea leaves from grandma to help Haven, and I think which reminds them of home, but she uses the tea to make potions. It's how the tea from grandma actually helps the nation of the Wonder, is she can make potions from the tea. So that kind of led us up to everything except your tea we needed in the morning. And when we were sat around camp, there was a bunch of people who came by that were from Avero. And Friday, we actually had a really good vibe, like, at our camp.
Yeah.
Which was, like, really nice because the two that didn't come to E4, but they were there for E3, had benches, had a really big awning, and, yeah, we just set up, like, a really nice vibe with, like, music and stuff like that. And so we asked these Avero people, oh, do you have, an ingredient and, like, a story from home? And so it was a big riddle. Well, it was, like, a poem. It was, like, a riddle of what beats the pipe and fiddles, hotter than mustard, sweeter than cream. There was a lot of rhymes, and I didn't write all of them down. But it was basically what brings all of the Landra together, whiskey from Old Avero. But it wasn't actually whiskey that we got from them, it was rum.
Yes.
Which is the funny part. There's this wonderful story about whiskey from Old Avero, and it was rum.
Hey, an ingredient's an ingredient.
Yeah.
And then I think you guys came back to camp.
Well, that was at camp.
Oh, yeah. And then there was, a call that loads of Valdraith people had died.
No, I was still on Friday night. You're talking about Saturday morning.
Oh, my bad.
So then Saturday morning, Rowan went and got tea from Hammerstadt because I said cat eye boogers is not a good ingredient to go into sangria. And then we did the weaving.
Yep.
So we took all of the ingredients. We had the 4 in our house and that could do fable weaving. Take 2 stories each, I think. And then there was one person had Ceradonia as like the extra because there was 9 nations. And that was really cool to watch. They made me cry because I was like, I can't believe they're doing this for me. Like, they don't have to. But when we got there, what we didn't realize was on the back of the page, it said how many levels you needed for the weaving, and we didn't have enough levels. They also had put down Oracle Sphere, which we were like, nah, this is Fable. We're talking about stories. We're not talking about like seeing the future, blah blah blah. Oracle, whatever. So we all ran out. Literally all of us just like dispersed because we were given like 15 minutes to do the weaving. So that's like our slot. So we all disperse and run down all these different nations. Someone goes to Valdraith and gets weavers from Valdraith. Someone else goes to like Kairos or whatever and gets people from that side. I went down Erdreven and I found one of their threads who has like 5 or 10 levels of fable weaving. Brought them back, and it was by the time we got back, it was like, oh, if you don't actually need me, I have to take care of my nation. And I was like, oh, thank you so much for coming. So they went back, but it was mostly like the Valdraith weavers. So they got cups of the sangria, and as each ingredient was like added, they like cheersed and drank a bit. Because the thing with weaving is everyone has to participate, but time was so short that they couldn't each be given an ingredient in a story. So by them doing their like cheers and drink, they were like actively participating in the weaving of the sangria picture. Yeah. So then after that we went back to camp.
Yeah. And then that's when we got the bad news, as it were, that half of Valdraith had died on an excursion, and that the rift was opening for the Void/Fallen to come into Haven.
Yeah.
And we also got the news that one of their threads had been killed.
And that thread was married to one of our threads. Who would have thought?
Who knew?
Who knew?
And so our thread was very annoyed. They got their wife's hammer and they gave a very passionate speech about killing all of them.
And then we stood in Valdraith for half an hour, it felt like.
Yeah.
We did a lot of standing around in Valdraith, and we moved over to the Menhir. There was a call for people to stay once again, because there was a couple people doing an excursion, like a couple fallen fighting like off over that way, and some people went, and then they ended up, because we just stood at the Menhir for so long, they just came back again.
Yeah.
And so they didn't actually stay. But, you know, I guess that happens. And then we did a fight there, but then we got pulled through the rift and we went up the hill, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Yes.
So I think what happened was the Valdraith had failed an excursion doing something for the Guardian, which is a god. The rift poured through, because I'm guessing it's because the threads were married that Ceridonia got to go through, but we ended up going through, and then
this was when the one that we had to go in groups of like 20 or 50, because I remember standing at the Menhir and them like counting us off and going up, but then everyone walks different speeds, and like 3 groups ended up merging by the time we got to the top of the hill, because it was supposed to be like we go through we rejoin the real world of this fictional world at the top, going through smoke, which is what they use as the rift. So it's like you pass the smoke, you're back timed in, and so it was like there was a lot of fallen if it had been like a group at a time. And I don't know why. I know we all kind of like zoom got like accordioned into each other because we had a OC briefing before, but I don't get why, because the refs were a bit kind of like, is this one group? And we're like, oh no, actually it looks like that group caught up with us. I don't know why they didn't just recount people off and go, alright, you 50 go in first, then you 50 can go in, or 30, whatever the number was. Rather than, they just seemed a bit like annoyed that all the groups had been sent up at the same time, which wasn't true. It was just like the first group was slower, so everyone caught up.
Yeah.
And they could have just staggered us out, because I think that would have made the fight more epic if it was like you went in, got the first group overran and like all on the ground, and then the second group comes through the rift in time in and goes, oh my gosh, we need to like beat the fallen back, we need to get our friends up. Like that would have been really cool. And instead what happened was we all just formed a huge line and pushed up through the smoke, through the rift in a huge line, because technically we're out of character. We're not supposed to be able to technically see what's on the field, but you can. And they just are basically the people for the different nations that were there who are in charge of like the fighting side of things. Like we have our Decurion of War, who has like his seconds and stuff like that. They just started lining us up. Other nations started lining up as well. So it's a bit kind of like, what's the term? Metagaming, yeah. Versus like the refs could have just segregated us back into our groups again, which I think would have been a more memorable fight. But it was pretty cool. There was, I think it was the troll that won.
Yeah.
So it was not Ugg the troll, it was a bad troll.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we defeated him. There was a side quest. Was this the one with the side quest where Faith and a bunch of them went up into the woods? They failed that part. Or was that during our nation fight? No, our nation fight was up in the woods.
Yeah, I can't remember which way around it was. Yeah, I think this is the one with the side fight where they went off into the woods, because I think
and they thought we were gonna keep going.
Had died in the woods, I think.
Yeah, and they didn't know they were supposed to be protecting a menhir that was up in the woods, and that didn't happen because they could barely even get into the woods, but we weren't allowed to go join them at the woods.
Yeah.
And they thought they were gonna have more backup, and they didn't get backup, but I think all of them got out.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So that was a bit of a messy fight.
But we got revenge for Stalwart the Thread.
Yeah. Speaking of Stalwart, I had a separate mission.
You did, once we got back, yeah.
Because on the Friday, Stalwart had gone to a thread of Avaro and tapped his legs that were apparently made of glass and broke his legs. But I think I got this mission on Friday. Because we played Q LARP, where we stood in the Adventure Guild queue to get our group all signed up for Adventurers Guild, and then I stood in the queue to get us all on a mission for Adventurers Guild, and that took forever. And in all of that, we also decided we'd do, well, I wanted to still do Treasure Hunters Guild, hearing about the others, but with Treasure Hunter Guild, it wasn't stand in the queue, it was find a little crown on a purple ribbon, then you can join Treasure Hunter Guild. This is like, go seek little treasure to join Treasure Hunter Guild. It's a neat idea. It annoyed me at E1, which is why we didn't do it, but then everyone had good stories, so I wanted to do it anyways.
Yeah, I think we spoke about it in our E1 or MF1 video, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a mission to get an apology note from Stalwart for this other thread and give it to the thread who had his legs broken, to get the crown from our other thread. So I ended up taking that over on Saturday because I went looking for them on Friday, couldn't find them. The apology note I hand wrote out myself for Stalwart. It was basically like, I'm so sorry for breaking your legs. I promise not to do it again until tomorrow. Or like, I promise I won't.
It was, I promise I won't do it again tomorrow, because that way he could always break the guy's legs on that day, then I would say tomorrow. And Stalwart's signature was a middle finger. Oh, I thought it was a penis.
Oh no, it was a penis, and it was shooting out crystals, because Stalwart has a crystal disease that we call STD, Stalwart transmitted disease, because Stalwart kept giving it to people, which was, corrupting them with crystals. So it's different from the normal corruption stuff. It's a crystal corruption thing, which is up here on our board. We found out more about it.
Yeah.
It's not good. Not good. That one though. It can be cured. But so that happened. I went and finally gave it to the thread, went back, and I think we knew that thread from Avaro from Empire, because that thread's also a marcher. I try to refresh Rowan's mind.
I didn't go to see him, so I don't know who it was.
I
know who it is.
Yeah. And so it was, I felt okay, because I knew from Marcher shenanigans, he'd think it's funny, but when Joy, our thread, who gave me the mission, found out that it was the penis with crystals, was like, you really, really, really don't have to do this if you don't feel comfortable. And I was like, no, I'm fine. It's fine. That's not my signature. It's fine. But yeah, so did it, got the crown, woo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we had our...
queuing to get all signed up.
Yeah, queuing to Treasure Hunter Guild, so we all got numbers. And all of our numbers are in a row.
Yes.
It's just easy to. Somewhere around mine is like I start at 12:15 and everyone else is after me in some order, which I have in my notebook. But then we went back to our nation and we were pulled through a rift.
Yeah, and this was our nation fight, so I think this was the Guardian mission where we went up into the woods and essentially we had to defend for 3 waves with increasing difficulty.
Yep.
First wave, pretty
Easy.
Second wave, a couple people went down, but overall pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
Third wave, I think they threw out a troll and like a rock golem thing.
Mm-hmm. The like magma golem.
Yeah.
Costume.
All in like one wave, so not really much time in between. I went down. I was pretty close to dying, luckily.
Oh, yes! Yes, this was when I got hugged by the golem.
Yes. Yeah.
I remember now. Things are coming back. This was such a long time ago. Yeah, I was in heavy armor.
Yeah.
And I got crushed by a golem that just squizzed me. And he was also doing rend to people as well by doing the same thing. So
yeah,
it was kind of like, really don't get near the golem because it'll take you down no matter what you're wearing.
Yeah.
But I think at the time I know who was in the costume, but now I can't remember which person it was. But I do know I know the person that was in it.
Yeah. Not
that anyone at Menhirs recognizes me from Empire because of the wig. Makes me look very different, apparently.
Yeah. That person as well, he was the one in the second wave who kept saying rend to me, but I had like my heavy armor on my forearms and then my shins as well, and then I had my helmet on.
Yeah.
So
I think I kept getting rend as well, but I was in heavy armor, full heavy.
Yeah. So like. And I felt bad about it because I knew that he was the skirmish captain, so he knows how to play the game, and I didn't want him to think that I was cheating, so I just checked him with stalwart as well. I was like, I am wearing like heavy armor. This is okay, right? This is like, and he was like, yeah, you're fine.
You just take one hit, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, I went down. When I went down in the third wave, I was lying in some stinging nettles, which was annoying.
Yeah, that's right.
And I've realised now, after this past event, that I was using I was using it like Stay With Me from Empire, but it's Get It Together.
That's also Empire.
I can't remember what it is now. Either way, I thought it was like 5 seconds of roleplay to give them 1 hit, but it's 10 seconds of roleplay to give them 3 hits. So I was just running around like trying to pick people up, kind of like a combat medic kind of thing, just get them up quickly so they could go off to the healers. And in doing that, I think I ended up getting downed by like 3 people off on the side. Then luckily someone came in to get me up. And then after that we cleaned up the fight, someone got me up, and then we were like waiting for like a third wave in the third wave, but luckily it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And we got to go home. We completed it, whereas I think they were saying another nation tried it and they failed on like wave 2, and then we ended up doing wave 3, which is obviously much harder. So yeah, the Cyrodian fighting leadership team felt very pleased with themselves, we're the best at all of that.
Yeah, we're not the biggest nation, but we have the best leadership in terms of getting everyone to fight together.
Yeah.
I think. And I think it just stems from the fact that we have a leadership position that is called the Courion of War. And that has just led into that person becoming the head of our fighters at Haven, which wasn't the original intention. It was more of an administrative position where we talk to the princeps, which are like the actual people in charge. But it's kind of steamrolled into, no, we are in charge of that thing at Haven, which is probably what the game intention of it was. But how it read was, oh, you're just like an admin secretary, kind of like, hey, Princeps, this is what happened at Haven.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
Well, yeah, I think the other thing is, like, because our nation is, like, fully around community, we're, like, pretty tight. It feels like we're quite tight-knit as, like, a nation.
Yeah.
So, like, working alongside each other and trying to win, essentially, worked out really well. Obviously, we had our little group off on the side as well, as part of, like, one of the other groups, and we worked really well together, I think. But then after that, we went back, and then we went to the Adventurers Guild after a little bit of lunch to see if there was anything.
No, we had already signed up.
Had we?
Yeah, I signed everyone up on Friday.
Oh, okay.
Because we knew we were going to be missing our monster slot with Ceradonia to go on the Adventure Guild. And so we went and got it all sorted out, like Friday or Saturday morning, that we would just go later on Saturday to a different monster slot. And so we were told this fight, or, well, not, it wasn't really a fight, it was advertised as something for the Fable Keeper, and because we have the Fable Weavers, we were like, perfect, this is great, it'd be something story related, cool. It was like, it was not advertised as like heavy combat, it was like combat likely, which is very different from it's going to be heavy combat. And so we were kind of like, cool, low chance of like heavy hitting fighting, sounds great. Our non-com was going on other Adventure Guild missions, and enjoying those. We were like, cool, can't wait to go on one as well, and hopefully enjoy it as the group of the 5 of us that we went, because Judd was there. And so when we were standing out front of the Adventure Guild, the Adventure Guild guy comes out and he's like, I need someone to be in charge of this. And then I just happened to be standing there, and
someone else threw a knife on the ground.
They just said, I have an idea. Threw a knife. Stephanie knew picking up the dagger would make me in charge. Joyous was like, oh no, you dropped your weapon. And it was kind of a like, I've never intended Joyous to do military leadership at Haven. I did start with heavy armor and vigor points to be a fighter, but I never intended her to be like military leadership. Like, I didn't want to be the Crayon of War. I didn't want to be a second, like, in charge of a block, stuff like that. Because I can do that at Empire if I really want to, but I don't think I want to. So it was kind of a bit of a, like, it was right in front of me and I just picked it up, and then suddenly I was handed a sword and told I'm in charge, and I just turned to the other guys who had it was so funny. Only 2 people were like, yep, I'm interested. And then the guy was like, oh, how are we going to decide? And that's when the dagger got thrown on the ground. So I just turned to them and was like, you guys are my seconds. You have my voice. Anything you say is what I've said. Which was a mistake, because they said different things the whole time we were out there.
Yeah.
So we were told to go out through this rift and hold a line for 10 minutes, and to also not lose anybody. If we did not lose anyone, then me, person in charge, only me, would get a Adventure Guild token that I already have, and I still haven't found a reason to use it. Not yet. So I was a bit kind of like, okay, well, you know what? That's fine if someone dies. But I wasn't going to be upset about it, because I already have the token. I didn't need a second token because I still haven't needed to use the first one that I got at E1. But it was a bit rough when we went out there.
Yeah, I think as we were like waiting around, they said, "Oh, it's going to be like you're meant to lose this fight. Just try and make a good story of it because it's for the Fable Keeper, and the Fable is all about stories."
Yeah,
So
and the
just
Fable
make a good
Keeper
story.
was there, came with us.
Yeah, and so we ended up going out to fight, and lo and behold, on the other side, it was during Cyrodiania's monster slot, so there's a bunch of Cyrodianians in heavy armor, essentially, as playing the Fallen.
With all their shields.
Yeah, with their shields, their armor, like all the calls and everything.
They had, they had a lot of calls. They could resist. So the sword I was given had Burning Taunt, which meant, well, because we don't know all the rules all the time, we're not refs. The Adventure Guild person told me Burning Taunt means that they will drop everything and come running at you. So I kept trying to Burning Taunt our friend who had a giant ass sword, and we're like, drop your sword. We're like, Burning Taunt, drop your sword and come here. Burning Taunt, drop your sword and come here. And then skirmish group captain comes around and goes, hey, because you're fallen and you're like ice, you resist fire calls, and Burning Taunt's a fire call. And I was just like, cool, this sword that I was given doesn't even help.
Yeah.
And then they pushed us. There was a guy down on the ground. Glint ran through the line to try to get that person up and went down as well. I saw Glint on the ground calling for Bats. I turned. Bats is our friend. Our two other friends were on the other side. You were also on that side at one point.
Yeah.
But then I saw you like run around do this epic thing.
Yeah, I managed to pick him up, and then we both like ran back.
Yeah.
And then like as we got back, and then the guy who came towards us from the Fallen side went back towards the main line. So I ran round again, and then as I got to the other guy on the ground, he was like, "Oh, I'm dead," and I was like, "Fuck," and then I just ran away. And I felt kind of bad because it was like, yeah, obviously he just died.
Yeah, if you'd
Or
gotten
they just
him
died.
and then went back and got Glint a second time, because Glint had.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm gonna get my friend up first because.
Yeah, and then I think
We're
Glint
friends.
said he either had 30 seconds or 10 seconds left, so it would have been like close, or he'd have been dead.
No.
At which point, you know, it's like he's our friend, and it would have felt bad. So then we ended up. They were like just holding their line, and we were like, oh well, if we just push, like they probably used all of their stuff. But then one person was like, one of your seconds was like, okay, we're going back.
Yeah, he was like, we're going back, guys, we're going back, and the other guy was like, no, we're fighting. I was like, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to keep trying to hold this line and lose more people, or do you like fight, or do you want to go? And it was like half of the people were like, let's go back to Haven. Another half were like, I want to fight more, please. And it was just like,
yeah.
Joyous was like, I'm not a military leadership, and was like, we've already lost someone. Let's leave. We're leaving. So I had to push people off the field because there was like a couple people who were like, no, let me cleave their legs. Let me have part of their like pieces of their body. I want to keep fighting. And I'm like, no, we're going back. We already lost someone. I was like, if you want to stay and fight them by yourself, go ahead. But you're not coming back with us, son. You'll die. And we were all pretty let down after that fight.
Yeah, because it felt like there was no meaning to the fight other than trying to give the like obviously we're trying to give the Fable Weaver or Fable Keeper a good story.
Yeah.
But it was like a
I
pointless kind of thing.
Yeah, I didn't even hear that part. I don't think I was paying attention when we were told we weren't gonna win. I didn't hear that part. If I had, I probably wouldn't have picked that dagger up. I didn't want to be in charge of that. That was embarrassing.
Well, it's like I don't think they said it loudly,
No.
and it was like when you're waiting, you think, oh, they're just saying that to try and like make us like worry a little bit or like up the stakes.
Yeah.
Not that it's actually going to be quite difficult.
Yeah. So it was sad, but there were some epic moments. And we were against our own nation, which was kind of funny because they recognized us because we were in character. Definitely heard some go for the shiny ones. Go for especially poor Glint got targeted so much by his friends, but
yeah,
that happens. And we went back to camp. Some of us were more upset than others. I didn't really care. I thought it was like a good fight against our friends, and I enjoyed that aspect. Obviously, you don't enjoy it when you're set up to fail, which I didn't know, which I think is why I wasn't as upset. Then found out while we were standing around. So basically, when we went back to camp, we watched the next wave of people go out with the Fable Keeper and do the same thing against Ceradonia as well. And so we watched like multiple people on that one die. Well, they definitely should have been dead. We don't know technically because we didn't go find out, but technically I don't know if we could technically see them from camp, but we were all kind of a bit like out of character at that point because some people were upset. Some people were just a bit like, that was really dumb. And so we're just watching them fight. And we're like, oh wow, look at the Fable Keepers going around healing people. That would have been nice.
Yeah.
But I think maybe the Fable Keeper was collecting stories from the dead, then not really healing. I don't know. We just assumed it was healing, but I think maybe not. Yeah, and then a bit later I had my bank meeting. And that was really good. I ended up picking the right bank manager because the other one charges like 5 sagas to have a meeting with him.
Yep.
Which was really funny because it was...
For the record, that's 1/8 of the money we get.
Yeah. So yeah, that was really funny because we were like sat there and he was like, alright, it'll be 5 sagas to the group next to me. I was like, I think I chose the right one. I think I locked out because this is the one I talked to about setting up a meeting, and she's like, oh, I'd be available, or my like brother, whatever, whoever it is. And I was like, you seem fine. I don't care. Like, should I care? I don't know.
It's a bank meeting.
It's a bank meeting with a bank manager. Whoever I get. So sat down. I had some drawings for the Lonely Shack. No, they took it for the build.
No, but I was looking for your map.
Oh, it's this. There's this map, so it's gonna be down. Nice, you knocked over the book pile.
I meant your watercolor map that you did.
No, it's not. I don't have it. And so it's gonna be in the Erdreven Plains, and it's a Tyrian trader outpost. So Tyrians are the traders in our nation. Because we live underground, we don't really get a lot of stuff, so we have to go out and buy it. And so yeah, I wanted a like little build that would allow people to not have to go by sea to make it all the way around the world, etc., etc. So we put that in, and then we ended up going back to the nation because there was the Decurion of Luxury election vote chosen by the Threads, and we all kind of joined with all of our items. I was trying to keep mine hidden, and you and someone else brought cups for the Threads because we were like, is it bribery if we give them some of the alcohol that's in our sangria pitcher? I don't know, we'll find out what they think. But yeah, everyone brought like such interesting like items, and like the reasons why they brought the items as well was really interesting. And originally it was like I was on one end, and then they were like, oh, we'll sit down, which was kind of like nice. It's like luxurious, like story time. So I moved where I was because I had been standing on the left side, and I moved over to the right because that would put me closer to Rowan, his character, as well as our other friend who had the cups.
Well, the other thing was, I think you wanted to go last.
Well,
Because
yeah.
you do get an advantage going last. And there's nothing wrong with using that advantage.
Yeah. So every single time one of the threads offered for me to, he was like, oh, I've seen you moved. Would you still, and I was like, no, it's fine. They can go first.
Yeah.
I was also trying to get my nerve up because I was like, I want to listen to what they do, what they say and whatnot. But also with like public speaking, like I wanted to like practice a little bit more in my head because we had just come from the fighting stuff and from the bank, and it was like all this other things like going on, and it was like I just want like a moment to like sit there. So I listened halfly to what other people were saying, and then the other half of my brain was like, okay, so we're gonna talk about the stories, we're gonna talk about the ingredients, we're gonna do this. I feel like out of everyone, I did not speak the best. But I think that's my own judgment of myself. I feel like how I wanted it to sound is not how it sounded. It still sounded okay, but I cocked myself a bit where like I like started pouring them cups from the sangria pitcher, and then I had to be like, but don't drink. Let me tell you what it does first. And I was a bit kind of like, oh, that's not how I wanted it to go. Because then it feels like I'm drugging them. Because some of them were already like half sipping, like, like, what do you mean this does something to me? But yeah, there was a crystal egg of vigor was one of the items that was brought. So the guy had gone out and traded for it. Very Tyrian, very part of the order of luxury, going out and trading for an item that bring back, and it does do something, which is really useful. Then there was the ukulele of like purify and petrifying. Oh yeah, maybe that's what I meant, not purify. Yeah, petrifying, which is great for like when you're on combat. And then there was a book of knowledge, but it was like a storage box, so it was kind of like my book, but it was like a really nice wooden one where it's like it's a book, but it's not a book. And the reason behind that was like really cool. And then yeah, it was my sangria pitcher of stories that reminded you of home, and I tried to weave in the community because a lot of the stories had to do with the community from that nation. Like the Belladonna was like, oh, the essence of home, you know, it reminds me of like the reason why we live, which is very like Morbalis like thing. And then the ginger, that was from the curry. So I tried to like quickly run through every ingredient and the stories behind them, and then the threads went and talked for a really long time. It felt, let me just try to put this back. It felt like a really long time. I think it was. And I think that was the cool part. And they turn around, and he's now a friend from Empire. One of our threads, you know, started off with, you guys have really like done so much more than what we asked for, and like we'll have to think really hard in the future about the challenges that we give, because obviously the challenges that we're giving you are too easy because you're going above and beyond like what we've actually asked you to do. And we were like, what? What do you mean? It's the best item, right? Like, is that not the challenge? That was a hard challenge. Yeah. Clearly, because we all brought like something completely different. And so then they were like, you know, looking around, and he's like, we'd like to give it to Joyous. And I was like, oh, yay. And everyone's like having some of the sangria, and very like community. It felt like nice. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I love all of your guys' items, because we talked while the threads were talking. We were all kind of like admiring each other's items, like going like, no, that's so good. We were telling the book guy like, you should have gone for stewardship in the next summit, because like that, like, you know, your book of knowledge and transferring knowledge, you know, that's so like stewardship. I think it was just maybe he wasn't coming or something.
Can't remember.
I can't remember. Or he didn't think of it that way or something like that, because he was putting like knowledge as a luxury, I think, spin to it, which is fair, really cool as well. But yeah, so I became Decran of Luxury.
Yeah.
Got a hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least the
Good
blonde
job.
version of me has a hat.
Yeah.
Sad brunette me can only have it for one season.
Well, blondes have more fun, so, you know.
Yeah, so my cousin said, because she's blonde. But yeah, so after that, we kind of gathered the cups, went back to the camp, and I feel like that was still the afternoon, and who knows what we did. But later on, we joined Monstering Slot for Hammerstadt, I think.
Yep.
And we were the Fallen.
I think we were Void, and we ended up fighting against Ceradonia.
Yeah.
I think we were supposed to fight against someone else, but
We were supposed to fight against Morvalis or Portavos. But basically the nation just didn't want to, or something like that, and so they ended up getting Ceradonia, which is funny because it was our second time fighting Ceradonia, but this time we were the bad guys.
yeah,
And we got to have fun trying to kill them.
yeah. Bats had like the really fun idea of we'll just run around them.
Yeah.
And
We started picking off healers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was fun.
So we just ran around the side, started attacking people. I think the Securin of War like went down to like one knee at one point because he was just like surrounded, and got everyone to like go around him because he was worried about dying, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then on the last wave, the final wave, we got told to not run around the sides because I think it was slightly dangerous because we were like circling them the second time. And
well, I think it was at the third wave they wanted Ceradonia to just run back into Haven scared. Was the like it was basically don't wrap them because we want them to be able to just leave. Because we want them to feel like this is one that they can't win. Was kind of the briefing that we were given over in the straggly bit. Were you with the tough fighters? No. There was like, because there were two groups. It was like skirmish crew, and some of the people who went in like heavy and like full armored stuff were like these like super superior fighters, and then we were just like recent converts, and so like we kept wrapping them and like yelling at the mages and healers like, your gods mean nothing to you, they abandoned you, like
join us.
join us. Because it was dark, the first one I didn't actually die. I just went back to the respawn point when I was like one of the only ones left, because I was like, nah, I don't want to get run over by my entire nation right now. So I just went back. I was like, I give up. I just killed myself. I don't know. And then we did it again. But yeah, that was a good fight. It was nice to have that, I think.
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, we waited around for a little bit, but I think
we waited for an hour of the slot.
Yeah.
To act like over an hour to actually fight, and I think that was one of the like triggering parts of it. Is like, well, you know when your slots are gonna be, so you could have NPCs go out earlier to start these fights, or just radio a like thread and say, hey, tell your nation 15 minutes you sense something.
Yeah.
And get the fights like going, because we're losing time in character to be there, but also it's only 2 hours, so like in that aspect, like you're not losing that much time.
No, but it's like you don't really, you go there with the purpose of like monstering. So when you're like not doing that purpose and you're just waiting around, then it's like, well, I could have just stayed in character,
Yeah.
or I could have come like 45 minutes later and then gotten ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we've got some ideas that I think we're going to email in about like what we can do. Some good ideas from like Dreadnought and Bats. They had some good ones.
Yeah. So
yeah, then after that we went back, heard about the fight, how it went.
Yeah, we were like, oh, you guys, sorry, we were just like on a stroll. The whole group of us, we just went for a stroll. And then I think around then was also when I had a chat, like an out of character chat with the person that I was trying to burning taunt in the earlier fight, who said in that earlier fight we were the easiest round that they did against the Fable Keeper people, the people that went for that mission, because they had like 3 sets of us from the Adventurers Guild that they fought, and they were like toned way down for ours. And I was like, mate, it did not feel toned down. Like, we had brand new LARPers who did not know how to fight on that mission. It was shit for us. But yeah, so, you know, kind of whatever. Forget about it. There was a mass weaving at 10. That I went and watched.
There was like 150 people there, wasn't there? 150 strength or something it required? No, can't remember.
I can't remember anything about it.
That's okay.
I don't even know. I have no idea. I think I went. I wrote it down in my notebook like I went, so I must have gone.
You definitely went to like go and watch something before you did the other one.
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
At some point, I signed me, Glyn, and Dreadnought up for a stealth mission for the Treasure Hunters Guild because
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
And you made other friends too as well.
Yeah.
On that mission, which was like really nice because then you chatted with them like later and the next day about that mission.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
It was like one of 4 missions that all like linked to the same thing, and essentially the mission was to get the Fallen and the Void on different islands to think that the other people were messing with them and like try and steal some orders because of it. So I signed me, Dread and Glint up because they seemed most down about the Adventurers Guild fight, so we're like, we want to do something fun, we don't want them to have like a bad impression, so they don't want to come again. We want them to come back so we can like carry on hanging out with them because it was fun. And we go up the hill, and then like they say, yeah, you don't need your weapons, so we all chucked our weapons down. They said you can use a dagger if it's less than 18 inches, but we didn't know this, so we just like looked at each other and was like,
No,
and then they said somewhere there's going to be a scroll that you need to take. Good luck kind of thing. So we went in, and like it felt like the first 5 minutes we were trying to be like super stealthy, like don't get seen at all. Like we got told they'll be slightly oblivious, but it wasn't until we like got in that we realized how oblivious they were. So we were like hiding, like crawling up like behind trees. We went in pairs with like, Glint and I were a pair, and he can go invisible. So at one point he like did his thing and went I was like, oh well, if he goes invisible, if he fails his thing, I can just pick him up. But yeah, we ended up getting separated as I like crawled forwards. He went invisible, so technically I didn't know where he was until he would have appeared. At one point I was just lying down on the ground like this, and it wasn't until after that, as you were saying, I was speaking to someone on the way back. They were like, couldn't see anything. I wouldn't have known you were there if your eyes weren't open. All I could see was the white of your eyes. But like once we got more, like I was just lying down, and then a guy comes into the bushes and is like poking around. He's like, oh no, it must be rabbits. And then he goes off. So I'm like, oh okay, like they just can't see you really at all. So me and this other guy, we like cross the path, end up crawling like under a tree, and then like coming into a light area where there wasn't many guards. So we go round, and then there's a path that goes all the way down, and it's fully lit. So we just like run along down that, and then we see like in towards like where the fallen camp was, and we're like waiting. They're like walking around. We run across into some bushes, and then someone like picks up and they're like, "Where's the scroll gone?" And we were like, oh, okay. They must like know they're like we must have got it. And then we start hearing someone shout or like do bird noises or something. And then there's these two people that like come up to the bush behind us and start like poking around, like literally like this far away from us. But they like pretend like they don't see us. And we got told that after 15 minutes they'll be more aware. So we were thinking like, oh, 15 minutes is up. So we just start to run, and then as we start to run, they go, oh, there's some here. And we like full on run round to the side. We like go through these side bushes, and then I like come face to face with one, and I say, he's like, oi, who's there? And they were just yelling this name Erskine around like the whole time. So I was like, oh, it's Erskine. And he goes, I'm Erskine. And I was like, oh crap. So I like ran towards the exit. Clint was there, like I think he had he had something, and he was like holding them off. And I like ran up behind him, like tapped him on one shoulder to distract him, and like ran around the side to get through the rift. And the ref goes like, oh, you got a drop, you got hit. And then he was like, I didn't see a weapon. And then they're like, oh, sorry, just go down. So it's kind of canon now that my finger is can kill people. But we all made it out, we got the thing, and so Glint and Dreadnought like loved it. I had a really good time as well.
Yeah, you guys like came back and you were like so hyped. This was like, you know, just before like midnight, and you're just like, yeah, it was so fun. We had this, we hung out with these guys. Oh, it was so fun. And I was just like, man, I wish I went. I wish I could have gone.
No.
But it was like, next time we'll do more treasure hunter stuff. We'll try. But I had already agreed to go with Lyric to a entreaty to the Traveler. So at the Menhir, you can do weavings, but you can also do priestly things, kind of priestly things. But you can do like entreaties, so you can talk to the Menhir, like try to talk to a god through the Menhir. And so this person from Erdreven needed a bunch of people to help teach the Traveler to speak dinosaur, because the Traveler doesn't remember how to speak dinosaur or something like that. And I was like, you know what, at E1, like we met the two velociraptors, and that was fucking awesome. Maybe more dinosaurs will show up. I'm going. That sounds cool. It was a bunch of adults in a giant tent with a fake rock making dinosaur noises and then saying the translation. But it was really fun. We were like, "Gah, gah, gah," you know, and then it'd be like, and that the person leading it from our Dreven was like, dinosaur, and then human noises, and it was like, and I just went, I like leaves. I want to eat leaves. Because I was like, in my mind, I was like, I'm translating one of the like the long neck brontosaurus. I don't.
Mm. I don't know what they are.
Yeah, one of them. I used to remember. I used to know more dinosaurs. I don't. But yeah, like a long neck, not vegan. Vegetarian. Could be vegan in that aspect then. Because dinosaurs didn't really have milk, maybe?
I don't know.
Of other animals? But
Doesn't matter.
maybe vegan. Maybe a vegan dinosaur. I don't know. They like leaves.
I don't know.
I know there was a film crew in the Menhir when we were doing it. But I haven't seen Menhirs actually post anything from that yet. So who knows? It might come up in like a short clip. But I know that camera was pointed at me when I was probably making some wicked awful faces, making dinosaur noises. So I'm not going to be impressed with myself if I see myself in a video. I know it's going to be bad.
Maybe that's why they're like, oh, what face is this person making? Oh, I can't put this online.
I can't do it.
They'll sue us.
Yeah, but that was really cool. There were so many people in there. And it was the Erdreven that we met at E1. May or may not be a thread. I'm confused at this point. But it was so cool. And then basically we went back to camp and we had music. Lyric got their ukulele out and was playing songs, and some people from Port of Os, a couple that were from Switzerland on their honeymoon and just decided to go to Menhirs while they're over here on their honeymoon as Port of Os, because they did singing together. One of them had a guitar and then they both sung and they did like sea shanty stuff, and that was so cool. Like we stayed up like quite late with them.
I was falling asleep. It was really good, but I was falling asleep.
Yeah. It was really nice, and it was like one of those moments of like, I'm glad that we picked the group that we picked, because I think the energy level matches more, because I love our friends in like the new LARP one, but they are so doing everything, running around, having so much fun, and I don't think I'm already exhausted coming back every time from Menhirs. I think I would die trying to keep up with them. But yeah, so it was really nice, kind of like hang out Saturday.
Yeah.
And then
Sunday.
The notes are short, so don't fret because we're almost an hour and a half in. But Sunday, time in.
So yeah, time in. I was like, I'm gonna go to the Treasure Hunters Guild, find out what happened with like the result of our stealth mission. So I go, and then I'm like, they're talking about it. And they say, oh yeah, well they stole something, and a buyer's coming for the scroll at 12 o'clock today. So you gotta decide, whether you want to sell it or something. And I was like, oh cool, like the scroll we stole is getting sold. That's awesome. So I'm like following the person who has the scroll around. They were a new LARPer and they felt like massively in over their head. So I was like, just trying to be like, I was just going along to listen on basically, because I didn't really know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
We go to they say it's sealed by earth magic or something. So we go to the weaving hut to speak to the weavers to see if we can get like something done or like a slot booked before 12. We meet a bunch of Ceridonians who are actually oracle weavers. So because they were saying essentially if we have oracle weaving, then we could maybe see something about when it will be opened, because it might be really bad if it gets opened, and we didn't want to sell something if it was really bad to some people who are quite nefarious.
Yeah. To the vampires.
No, I don't.
Oh.
We don't know who. I think
that's what we left out.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, finish yours.
Yeah. we hear, and then in listening in, it turns out that the scroll wasn't from our stealth mission, it was from one of the other ones. And essentially, they stole it from, I think it was the Temple of the Shadow, the god. And
Okay.
the buyers are someone who has sway over the Court of Daggers, which is a different guild. So we were like, yeah, it felt like it would be really bad if we sold the scroll. And they did a weaving, and then I think the weaving came back as saying, like, don't open me, you're not ready. They got like a really bad feeling about it, so we ended up not selling it. And then in walking like back to Ceradonia with the person with the scroll and like the Oracle Weavers, kind of just left them there because I was like, they're just going to go sit in the Oracle Weavers camp and decide what to do with it. I caught back up with one of the people who was helping out and going around later, and they said they're not selling it. The buyers came, they were pissed. Understandably,
as you would,
because we'd agreed that we'd sell it, and then we decided not to. And that the scroll, because it was such like a bad thing, and it said like it wasn't ready to be opened. We didn't have everything we need, but it was meant to be found by the Treasure Hunters Guild.
Gotcha.
So and then the buyers, it seemed like they'd been tipped off. And because of that, they were like annoyed already on coming in. And because of that, they were worried that the buyers would know who had the scroll and therefore try and like get a Court of Daggers hit on them. So they secretly hid the scroll on like one of 3 people. But they didn't say who any of the names were because obviously they weren't sure where the leak was. And that's as far as I got with that. It was just like, we'll see what happens next summer if the buyer is still very annoyed and gonna try and kill someone. Yeah,
interesting. What we forgot on Saturday was, I guess, kind of my first... It would have been before the weaving. Yeah, it was before the weaving. I guess kind of my first job as the Current of Luxury was hosting vampires in Ceradonia in our nation camp. So yeah, 2 vampires, well, 2 main old vampires and some slightly younger vampires, still like 500 plus years old, because those were the guards, came and sat in our camp, and we played some music for them, which they weren't really that impressed. One wanted to watch fighting, so we had some fighting. So I chatted with the other one, who we know from Empire, a theme, about what their interests were. And then I started talking to one of their guards, and I kind of like walked with them as they left Ceradonia. And then went back to camp, and then went to go to watch the weaving, and there was a massive group there, and it wasn't for the weavings, it was because the vampires were doing something at the Menhir first, which caused a giant crowd to form. So that was like really confusing. But yeah, anyways, on Sunday, the guy with the STD, the stalwart transmitted disease, we went looking for him in Valdraith, because we were like, is he still alive? Turns out he was out on a mission, and we're like, cool, well, not to his family, but we're like, cool, if he dies, that solves a lot of problems. So then we went back, and I said, send him over when he comes back to our camp, and maybe I'll be there.
I don't think we said, but we found that somehow it got found out that if they have the crystal disease, then if the light of the bright shines on them, then it'll cure the disease.
Yeah, and the bright is like the giant crystal in Ceradonia that makes it possible for us to live underground.
Yeah, and then
And it can cure corruption things.
Yeah, and a key point for the next event is no outsiders are allowed inside Ceridonia. So it was like a very big thing of he's got the disease, he has to get cured by the Bright, but like
we don't allow outsiders into the Holy City. There's
Yeah.
never been an outsider in the Holy City.
So-
And he'd have to come technically in, then up to like an antechamber of the Bright to like get cured, because I think you might have to be quite close to be cured. But yeah, so we went back to camp, and then they were like, hey, we need people to come fight for Kairos, because Kairos are eating lunch and they have a fight right outside their door. Kairos was kind of the closest to the monster tent, so they were being quite nice to the crew who was monstering at that point and not having them like walk all the way around or up the hill or whatever. So yeah, a bunch of us went on that fight. That guy who I told to come look for me came to our camp while I was gone on that fight. Whoops. But yeah, it was a good fight with Kairos.
I went down a couple times. I didn't wear my armor or anything. I was just gonna be running and like picking people up. And there was one point where I like was running away from someone, like way out away from the fight. They downed me, and then I was like counting, and then I like shouted after about a minute. So halfway through my bleed time, and then like a healer ran over. Or I think they got chased. That like there was people that like started to attack the healer because they were in the back line, and then they ran away towards me, but the people didn't follow them for some reason. So then they got me up. It was a fight for 3 gods or 2.
2? 1?
The Traveller and the Celebrant.
Yeah?
I think it was the Traveller and the Celebrant, because it was the person we saw in the Treasure Hunters Guild, I think.
Yeah, and the gods were kind of like hanging around, watching the fight, which was cool. But yeah, then we went back to Haven, right back in. I had to ask during that fight, I was like, is the way to Haven just open, or is it like we're in a rift and we're not like at Haven? But that fight, we were at Haven. They had come to a rift onto like the grounds of Haven, so we could have just run the whole time. But then they could have followed technically.
Yeah.
So we went back to camp. I went to go try to find an enchanter because I was told by the Decurion of War that I needed to pick someone to be my second, and I was like, cool, if I do that, I want to give the person I pick something, because I was gonna pick Glint, because he backed down so that I could go for the position. So I was like, well, if I can't ever make it, then you'd be my second. So I didn't say that to Glint until E4, because I basically went to go find an enchanter who could enchant an item with toughness, because I met an enchanter. Well, no, we went to go look for one in Avaro, and they were on a fight, so at the very end of Summit, they came back and started talking to me about it, so I pulled him aside, and we stood in the shade. He listed off everything, and I was like, what do you need for enchantment of toughness on an item? And I was like, cool, I don't think I'll be able to have that right now, but maybe next Summit. And they're like, I might not come, and I was like, cool, I'll figure something else out then. Try to convince him, didn't work. But yeah, so I didn't tell Glint at that point that he was gonna be my second. Good thing I showed up at E4.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically in that whole like going to Avaro, going to the bank, going back, we came back and I was like, oh, they're having the end of the Summit thing early, because there was a large group forming, and as we walk up, it was not. It was a friend had died on a skirmish right at the end of Summit.
Yeah. One of the people from the new player group went off to a fight on their own, I think, and ended up dying.
Yeah. But at least they were carried back.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that was sad, but it was a really cool, kind of like funeral service bit time that like we had for them. Like our Decurion of Faith went and like talked to like the body, you know, the soul of the person. I did a little bit, and you know, I tried to like fend off some people that were already there trying to collect the bones from Morvalis. So it was like, give them some time to grieve, right? She just died. Like, back off. They're not selling bones to you. Like, we'll take care of it back in Ceradonia, and then you'll get them later. Or not. You know, it's up to them. It's up to the Domus what happens. But yeah, that was an interesting end. Because right after that, it was kind of like, now we'll have our end of Haven, and we were given time in character to say goodbye, which I thought was really nice, because then it was like we kind of all went around. It was like before, it was like 2:30, so we still had like half an hour or so of in character time, so everyone actually got to go like say goodbye like in character, like, oh, you know, if you're not coming back, or, you know, Ceradonia is so big I don't ever see you there, like, but I'll see you next time we all come to Haven, sort of like really cute goodbyes. I like that. We didn't get that this last one, but
no.
But yeah, it was cute. And then we packed down. We helped take down the awning, for our group, and cleaned up and put our stuff in the car. Yeah. And we said goodbye to that camp for maybe forever. Who knows?
Maybe forever, yeah.
Maybe forever. Maybe one day if they get really, really big, they could go back to that site.
I think it'd be a pretty good site to go back to if they make loads of money, if they get loads of people to come down and can afford the site fees, but I think with the site that we've just been to, I think that's a better site, and they probably have the capability to expand on that site as well if they want to. Yeah, I know that there are other fields at the new site that they can rent. There's also word that it might be where Empire has been, because Empire is actually going to be on a move now to a new site that they own themselves, which is really cool. Really happy for them. That's been like, you know, 10 years plus of running this game, and now they've finally been able to like purchase like a good plot of land that they'll be able to hopefully do what they want on. Yeah. As long as they get council permission, I guess. They might run Menhirs there as well, potentially. That was another site that was touted for Menhirs, but no, they're saying Dadford might be Menhirs. No, but even the new even the new, yeah. I think because some of the people who run Menhirs do Empire as well. They spoke to like the owner of Profound Decisions to see about it. So we'll just have to see wherever it is next year. Yeah. But yeah, I think the next video we'll do would be technically it should be Empire E4. But I don't think I have much to say on Empire E4. So the next one that we'll do will be Menhir's Fate Event 4, which was last weekend. Much more fresher on our memories. Yeah, hopefully we'll remember more in detail things. Although we did manage to make this almost 2 hours, so yeah, you know, even without full detail, full memory, we can drag it out. Yeah. But either way, thank you very much for listening. We hope you've had a good time and, you know, hearing our stories. Yeah, and if you ever have any questions about any of the LARPs that we do, we also have done player events. We've crewed player events and just gone to player events. So if you ever have questions, leave them in the comments or email us, which is in the description as our email. And, you know, if we ever get enough, we can do a Q&A session, or, you know, we could even like do a live video on YouTube if we had enough following. But
probably won't, so we'll probably just record it.
Well, even with enough questions, I'd be happy to see like a live Q&A.
Yeah, because then you can get even more questions, which is nice.
Yeah.
Versus like recordings, but yeah.
Yeah. To say thank you to those of you that watch.
Yeah, you don't have to. We'll watch it later on, and we'll just cringe at ourselves, but we want to remember our stories.
Back when I'm, 50, 60. What was LARP? Oh yeah, I used to do that. Oh my god, I look so young.
Anyways, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. Bye.
Ugh.